years, this gathering, the Fellows group, is where I had had the source for my fire. It comes from you. It always has. And I think about that very first Fellows retreat in the spring of 2002, where we gathered with a mighty few, some of whom are here in this room with us right now. And then I cast back a little before that to 2001, when a smaller group was asked to go to North Carolina and investigate this thing called A+ schools. What was it? This thing that used the arts to transform learning opportunities for children. Would it be something that could come here? Would it be something that could grow here? Could it become us? Would we have to become North Carolina? What was all that about? And there are those of you in this room who were with me on that journey as well. So we've been at it for a while. I think particularly, if you'll indulge me, what I want to impose on you is like the grandma with all the photo albums strewn around her, and to keep it from being 1,000 hours long in terms of my presentation, I just decided to think about really from that moment where A+ schools was nowhere except North Carolina. Where in the world is it now? Where are we? Oh, let's see. So a clicker or a doodah?
That would be point at me and I'll do it.
All right, cool. Well, you know we're in Oklahoma. We are all over the state. There are people in offices. There are people in the streets. There are people in the schools and in the communities that understand what we do and have essentially dedicated their lives to helping us to do it, that thing about transforming schools and making them more engaging, productive learning environments for the kids and for the adults as well. Right here in Oklahoma City, we've had a strong research team that started day one with us. Some of those people were the absolute people who brought it to us in the first place. Mike Ryber in the bottom, what corner is that? Left-hand corner. I don't know why I had to turn around. That's right. Brian Duke from UCO. So we've had lots of research support, a lot of community support. I do want you to keep your eye on those two on the right side of the screen, because every glass of wine you see was there. Our founding partners at Oklahoma School of Science and Math, where we have been every single summer since 2002, sometimes wreaking a little havoc, but more often really learning and growing from what we share with each other. Tulsa has never been stronger than it is now. We have, those are two of my board members. Those of you from Tulsa know who they are, Bonnie Hinkey and Ken Busby. And we are standing in front of a new guest office space that will be at our disposal so that we can be a more active, visible presence in that town. That is the way to make real things happen. That is the way to take the expertise that happens in the schools on the ground with Miss Jeannie and others in that area, so that those little girls can realize their dream to grow up and become whatever it is they want to be. Where in the world is A+ schools? It's all the way to Washington, D.C. Regular opportunities to make presentations to large groups of practitioners and supporters from across the country. Right back here at home, I know we've had more fellows be recognized, teachers be recognized. This is what I could grab quickly. Glenda also is one of our ongoing A+ stars. There's Tammy, and there is the group with Teresa, the first time that she was awarded, and then there she is again. Where's Teresa?
I'm right here.
Mm-hmm.
The second time after the first one blew away. So even a tornado cannot dim the spirit and the recognition that comes from what you put your heart into and how it shows in the lives of children across the state. We've made waves all the way to the state regent's office. We have projects, we have awards, we have ongoing collaborations at the highest level of higher education. If we don't impact teacher training, we will never make the kind of progress that we all wish to make. So those are important connections. You know, Arkansas could be asking the same question, where in the world is Arkansas, A+ schools? And leadership changes couldn't dim the enthusiasm in the schools of that state. So we have had so many wonderful opportunities to help partner, help guide, help learn from the Arkansas contingency. From our earliest supporters, John Brown at the podium at the Thea Foundation, at the Wingate Charitable Foundation, who is still supporting Oklahoma and was one of the initial funders for this operation, all the way to one of our newest cheerleaders, former President Bill Clinton. That, in fact, it was Bill Clinton's book, Giving, that led us to Louisiana. I don't know how many of you realize that. But because the Rodriguez Foundation people were looking for a way to make a big difference in schools, they picked up Bill Clinton's book on giving, and in it he talked about the Thea Foundation, which led us to Louisiana and led Louisiana to us. We can't forget the mothership. North Carolina, like all organizations on this planet, has had an up, it's had a down, it's had an evolutionary process. But throughout the entire evolution of North Carolina, we've maintained ties with people who were there at the beginning. So both of these folks are still working for North Carolina, Sheila and, of course, Michelle. So that is a testament to our own partnerships and growth as well. Back to DC, where we landed in the Reinvesting in Arts and Education study from across the country, looking for effective models that really had research behind them that could be touted at the national level. And because we were in that document from the President's Committee on the Arts and Humanities, it put us into contact with the schools at a national level undergoing their training to become transformed, using the arts, using the whole school model, hands-on instruction, everything that A+ schools represents, along with our own homegrown celebrities, Alfred Woodard, who is a partner in that effort and who is just waiting for the opportunity to come to Oklahoma. This is President Clinton when I had my very first dinner next to him. So we're supposed to use our what happens when you text under the table? I about spit my water. So not only in those kinds of circles, but the National Endowment for the Arts has taken note of what we do, and that has been a long process. You understand more than anyone else that it is not an overnight sensation. It takes cultivating the ground. It takes true commitment to what it is we want to accomplish together, bringing our gifts that we have. You have such different gifts than I do. And so together we keep fertilizing the soil, tilling and replanting, pulling the weeds, and keeping the beautiful, productive parts of the work that bear fruit over time. So we've been all the way from the National Elementary School Principals Association to the National Art Educators Association to the National A+ Schools Consortium. This is where the 4 states now come together regularly, both in person and online. Go ahead. And that's Jacques in person, and that's Jacques and Paul online. we continue to share who we are, where we are, and what we represent to the world, so that we have people who understand that they can make a difference, and they can make a more sustainable difference if they're connected. And we can be those connectors for the people, all the way to Ghana, and in Doha, Qatar, Qatar. And I would go back one slide
Okay.
for me, Rosalind. On the bottom, see, I've got to turn around and look at it this way. Left-hand side, that's Pasi Salberg. He is from Finland. He was one of the speakers at this year's WISE conference in Doha. He represents what they call the Finnish miracle. We all know that when you look at those lists of countries doing the best job, Finland is always on it. He talked about several things. A question that he asked is one I think is very important, and it is, what do you think would happen in the world if we took these Finnish teachers who are doing this great work and we traded them for your teachers? Not the bad teachers, the good teachers, the people you represent. What would happen in our countries if we did that? We just traded teachers. There was a great debate. 100 different countries in many different languages weighed in on what the differences might be. Pasi Salberg proposed that actually no difference. And why is that? That is because he said, we will take your teachers, we'll treat them like we treat our teachers. We will support them as we support our teachers. You will take our teachers, you will treat them as you treat your teachers. You will support them as you support your teachers, and the results won't change. It's the system, baby. And that is the essence of A+ schools. So being very intrigued with the Finnish miracle and really wanting to, like I've always wanted, what does it look like? What does it feel like? What are they really doing? I went to a session with one of the headmasters of a school in Finland talking about all of the processes that are in play in her school. Guess what they were? Arts, hands-on learning, multiple learning pathways, enriched kinds of assessment, not reliance on the standardized test, collaborations, technology interwoven with projects for students. They're doing A+ schools. That's the Finnish miracle. That's a story that deserves to be told. So what I want to do in the coming years, to the best of my ability, till I can't crawl out of my house anymore, is tell that story. Tell your story. See what you're